Hello everyone and welcome back to Wanderer's Footsteps. So in this episode today I'm gonna be taking you to discover an Irish mythology from about the 8th century that talks about the dream of Aengus. But just before I tell you about this mythology that is very interesting, I want to tell you a bit how I discovered it. So if you remember, last week I published a video about one of the lessons we can learn of one of the episodes of Star Trek, which is Star Trek Rogue Planet. And basically in this episode I noticed that they talk a lot about a poem written by William Yeats that's called The Song of the Wandering Aengus. And this intrigued me a lot. I read the poem and it's very beautiful. It talks about a guy whose name is Aengus who goes in search of a girl that he always dreams about. And when I made more and more research, I found out that this poem is based on an Irish mythology called The Dream of Aengus. However, the ending is different between both of them. I'm not going to tell you the ending from now because I don't want to spoil the mythology or the poem, but the thing is that they both have different endings. And in the poem, William Yeats decided to change the ending in a way to reflect his own life. So this is why in the next episode, next week, I'm going to be talking about the poem in itself and why William Yeats changed it or changed the ending from the original mythology. But for today, I'm just going to stick to the dream of Aengus, to this mythology, Irish mythology, and tell you about this god who dreamed about a girl and how he was able or not able to find her. So if you are ready to get to know this mythology, let's go. So Aengus was known to be the god of love and youth in the Irish mythology. He was the son of the Dagda and Bawn, who was also a goddess. And basically one night Aengus had a weird dream, let's say. He saw a very beautiful girl standing next to his bed. And for him she was like the most beautiful girl he had ever seen in his life. And when he tried to touch her hand, she completely disappeared. So the whole night Aengus did not sleep, he was always thinking about her. The next day he woke up, however, no food went into his stomach. He didn't eat anything because he was always thinking of this girl. He needed to find her. And the next night, the same thing happened again. Basically, Aengus fell asleep and he saw this woman again. She came and she played for him music until he fell asleep, and it was the most beautiful music he had ever heard in his life. And same thing, the next morning he woke up and he did not eat anything. A whole year passed and Aengus did not eat anything for the whole year. He fell in love with the girl. Every night she was appearing to him. However, he did not know who she is and he did not tell anyone what was happening to him. But a year later he fell sick because he hasn't eaten anything for a whole year. And this is where all the doctors came to see him and no one really knew what the problem was with him. And this is where all the doctors and specialists decided to call for someone called Fergne. Basically, he's like a specialist but with special powers. He could know the illness of a person just by looking at his face. It is also said that he can tell from the smoke coming out of the house how many people are inside and how many people are sick inside the house. So basically this Fergne comes and he sees and he watches like the face of Aengus, and he takes him aside and he tells him, you are in love with someone and you don't know who this person is. So Aengus tells him, you are absolutely right, I'm so deeply in love with this girl. So here the specialist tells him the only way for you to get better is to find this girl. And this is where the specialist called for Aengus's mother Bawn for her to come. He explained the situation for her and he told her that she should send all messengers to all over the land in order to find this girl. So the search lasted for a whole year, but the girl was never found. And this is where Bawn called for Fergne again and told him, my son is getting sicker and sicker, we need to find something for him. And this is where the specialist Fergne told her it's time to go to call the Dagda, who is Aengus's father. So the Dagda came and told Bawn, why have you summoned me? So Bawn told him, it is to help your son. He is in love with a girl. We don't know who she is, but we have to find her. So Dagda told her, but my knowledge is no greater than yours. So here Bawn told him, but you are the king of the side of Eriu. Send messengers to Bodbe, who is the other king of the side of Mumu, which is like another kingdom, and his knowledge spreads throughout the whole lands there. So the Dagda decided to send messengers to the king Bodbe, and these messengers were very well welcomed, and they told the king how Aengus, the son of Dagda, is very sick. He is in love with a girl he hasn't seen before, and the Dagda ordered the search of the whole lands in order to find her. So Bodbe said that he will send messengers in order to search for this girl, but the search will need at least a whole year. And a year later, Budbe people came back with great news. They say that they found this girl that Aengus is looking for at a place called Loch del Drachen. So Budbe told his messengers to go see the Dagda and tell him of this important information and to tell him to come along with Aengus. So Aengus came and he was welcomed with a big feast, a feast that lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. And at the end of the feast, Budbe said to Aengus, "Let us go now to see if you recognize this girl. But it is not in my power to give her to you. You can just see her and tell me if this is a girl or not." So they went on until they reached a very beautiful lake. And there they saw 150 girls. And Aengus immediately recognized her. She was the tallest between all the girls. All the others were no taller than her shoulder. Each pair of these girls were linked by a silver chain, but Aengus's girl wore a silver necklace and her chain was of burnished gold. "Do you recognize this girl?" asked Budbe. And here Aengus told him, "Indeed I do. This is the girl that I see in my dreams every night for 2 years, and this is the girl that I fell in love with." So here Budbe tells him that there's nothing more I can do for you. I have no power over this girl. So here Aengus tells him, "But can I at least have her name?" So he tells her her name is caer ibormeith. She's the daughter of Ethel and Bohem from the province of Connachta. After that, Aengus and his people returned to their own land, and Budbe went with them to visit the Dagda and Bawn. Aengus told his parents that he found the girl he was always looking for, the girl he had dreamed about for 2 years approximately. He told them her name and the name of her parents. So the Dagda said, "It's a pity that we cannot get her, we don't have power over her." And this is where the king Budbe said, "What you should do is go to Eilil and Maive, for the girl is in their territory. It's like another kingdom, and they should go there in order to ask them if they can get the girl." So the Dagda went to Eilil and Maive, and they were welcomed with a big feast, a feast that lasted for a whole week, drinking and eating. They usually, it seems that they used to eat and drink a lot. A whole feast for one whole week. And basically after 1 week of feasting, Eilil asks the Dagda, "Why are you here? What is the reason for your visit?" It took 1 week to ask the question. It's really funny. Anyway, so here's the Dagda told him, "There's a girl in your territory with whom my son had fallen in love, and he is so sick and he needs to get this girl." And Eilil asked him, "Who is the girl?" So the Dagda replied, "She's the daughter of Ethel and Boel." So here Eilil said, "We do not have the power to give her to you." So the Dagda said that the best thing is to contact her father, Ethel himself. So Eilil sent messengers to Ethel, to the girl's father, in order to ask him that they want his girl for Aengus. And Ethel completely refused. He said, "I would never give my daughter to the Dagda." And this is where the Dagda and Eilil together decided to take their armies, and they went and destroyed the kingdom of Ethel, and they took him and confined him and also ordered him to give his daughter. And this is where Ethel says, "I cannot, for her powers are greater than mine." And Eilil asked, "But what kind of powers are you talking about? What kind of powers your daughter has?" And he responds by saying, "She can be in the form of a bird each day for a year, and then in human form each day for another year." So here Eilil asked him, "And what time of the year she's gonna become in the shape of a bird?" And Ethel replied, "It's not for me to reveal that." So here Eilil threatened to kill him, and when he was threatened, Ethel decided to tell them that she will be in the form of a bird at the Loch del Drachen with 150 other women at the next Samhain. And the legend continues to say that this is how peace was made between the Dagda, between Eilil and between Ethel. And then the Dagda bid farewell to his friends and went back to his house, to his kingdom, and told his son Aengus, "As the next Samhain should go to the lake, the Loch del Drachen, and there you should call her name and she will be there waiting for you." So after approximately 3 years of searching, Aengus went to the Loch del Drachen lake and found 150 birds, all of them with silver chains and also golden hair. And here he screamed and said, "Come and speak with me, caer." So he heard a voice saying, "Who is calling me?" And he said, "I am Aengus." And here caer answered him, "I will come if you promise me that I may return to the water." And so Aengus said, I promise you that. And the legend says that she came to him and he put his arms around her and they slept in the form of swans until they circled the lake 3 times. And this is how Aengus kept his promise. And the legend continues by saying that they left in the form of 2 white birds and they flew all over the land singing beautiful songs that made people fall asleep. They sang songs for 3 days and 3 nights. And this is the legend of the dream of Aengus, how the god of love finally found his own true love forever. So guys, this is the legend of the dream of Aengus. For me, I find it like very beautiful, a bit strange, but it's a very nice story. I don't know if all these kings and queens and all these kingdoms really existed one day, but I think it's nice to keep a bit of mystery in every story in the world. This is what's beautiful about it. And as I told you, next week I'm gonna be publishing a video that talks about the poem that is called The Song of the Wandering Aengus. And basically it is written by William Yeats, but it's taken from this legend that I told you today. However, it is written in a different way and has a different ending that reflects the true story of the poet William Yeats. I'm gonna be telling you all about it next week, so stay tuned and take care, and I'll be seeing you next time. Cheers. Why tell me ask the dabda? No, the dagda. Why tell me ask the dagda?